Start the recording, and I'm going to start the intro. Awesome. Welcome to episode 4, everybody. Zach has a quote for us today.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And that's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt.
That's awesome. Why did you choose that one?
It's called The Man in the Arena. Um, it's something that was read today by our GM in our sales meeting, and just it's just true.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, you got a new Zach, or a new Zach. You got a new job, Zach, since we last were here. That's awesome. Want to tell people about that?
Yeah, I'm a salesperson at a Honda store, and I love it.
That's
It's
awesome.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, so you're selling cars though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Dude, so you've been there for what, two
Honda
weeks? How many cars have you sold?
6. Yes,
Dang,
6.
dang. And how many have been new cars and how many have been um
Well, used
recertified?
cars.
Yeah.
2 new cars and 4 used cars. But the way Ken Garf does it is it doesn't you get the same commission no
Nice.
matter what you sell. So
Hey, car's a
it's
car, yo.
awesome like that. Yeah, for sure.
That's
I just
awesome.
like I just the experience I've had, the experiences that I've had and people that I've met have been just so crazy. Like I met like I told you this morning about the art teacher, right?
Yeah. You should tell everybody about that. That's really funny.
Uh so this art teacher at the local college at Weber State is like, so we look for people to do our to do a painting class. It's like not it's not an actual class, but it's like a group of the art students get together and they paint a nude model. And he's like, "You should do it. We pay it's $60 for 3 hours." I'm like, I don't know,
You know, so basically, Zach
twenty
had a
bucks an hour.
Zach had a guy ask him to. Zach had a guy offer to pay him to see his junk. So that's something that happened.
I mean, $60 for 3 hours. That's kind of like, I mean, I could go dance naked somewhere, and I'm sure make way more money than that.
I don't know, but you don't have to do anything. You just sit there and pose. So
Yeah, and I would get to keep all the artwork, and I could just like put it up
You could start putting
all
it behind you.
all over my house,
These are the naked,
like really classy, you know.
like really, like you put them in frames and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny,
it was so really interesting stuff.
dude. That's
Really,
awesome.
really interesting.
Yeah.
And I've just enjoyed. I mean, that was kind of strange, but kind of flattering in a way. But I just like helping people, whether they buy a car or not. It's good to get to know people and kind of help them make a decision one way or the other.
When I was listening to a lot of like sales books and stuff, because I do sales too. Um, I always like Zig Ziglar. One thing he said that always appealed to me is he's like, the more you help people get what they want, the more you get what you want. And it's
Makes
funny,
sense.
yeah, if you approach every person like that, it really helps them, you know,
Hmm.
feel that you really care. And then if you can help somebody get what they want, then they're more than happy to reciprocate. In which what we get is the commission. So it's a win-win.
Yeah,
It really
for
is.
sure.
All right. So this week we've both been crazy busy. It's been what 2, 3 weeks since we've done a podcast. So we need a
Too long.
way too long. Um. So
Sorry,
gaming.
guys.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
know that you've been waiting for this.
All three of our fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom keeps asking me when we're gonna podcast again. Oh, she loves them.
Hi,
Um,
Jake's mom.
hi, Jake's mom. She says hi. No, she's here with me right now. She's
That's awesome.
encouraging me. She's like, "Go get it." No,
Get after it,
get
son.
after it. You have worth. Uh, so in gaming this week, man, we've been busy. Have you got any game time in, my friend?
Uh, I've just been playing the game of life, leveling up my knowledge of sales and cars and and relationships and just getting after it like that,
Nice.
which is a game in itself.
I was a,
But
I was gonna say
haven't
that's
had
a
time to play any games on the internets or the computer. But I'm still a gamer for
yeah, man.
life.
Dude, that's a very long-winded way of saying no.
I'm
But
I'm
just
pretty long-winded.
yeah, no, it's just busy. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
so the newest expansion for World of Warcraft came out. And I have gotten all of like 20 minutes um into that. Oh, hey, Savanthan. Hey, what's up, brother? It's good to see you in chat. Thanks for joining us. Um,
What up, man?
what up? So, I've been excited though, like the little bit of the new expansion that I've been able to play has been amazing. Like the production
Nice.
value, I don't even know how to describe it. But like I
Hmm.
just want to say like the production value has been super awesome. You know what I mean? Um, but the problem is with a new expansion, you
Mm.
get new gear real quick. But normally your gear looks dumb, and it doesn't really matter except for now in you've got all these cutscenes that are happening way more than before. But the problem is instead of just the cutscene with the characters, they put your character in there. So you got all these characters that in the cutscene look good, and then your character's like, "Hi, I'm Jerry. I dressed myself today." Like you gotta be careful. So
The
yeah, so you gotta like make sure your outfit is on point because you never know when you're gonna be in a cutscene. So that's one thing that I've had to deal with. Oh, and actually, so that's my gaming. That's about all the gaming I've gotten in. But I got BlizzCon tickets today. I am so beyond stoked. So I
dude.
was able to get five. Dude, they're so hard to get. Like I had I think like 10 people trying to get tickets for me today.
Wow.
Um, and I got five. Like only me and another guy got in. So it was really cool. But I'm excited because all five are spoken for. I've got a group of people going. We got a hotel reserved, so yeah, dude. BlizzCon this
Nice.
this year is going to be amazing. It's going to be really cool.
Nice. What are you cosplaying as?
Chubby guy in a random T-shirt.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Like
usually how I go.
what game is that from?
The game of my life. that's that's how I usually cosplay, just in general. Oh
Hmm.
no,
Sounds legit. Sounds legit.
dude, I know you were just joking, but the cosplay at BlizzCon is so awesome. Like I saw this Reinhardt that was like twice the size of me. This person was on stilts,
Wow.
and yeah, it was crazy. Um,
Those cosplayers get after it, man. They know how to do it.
Dude, it's crazy because I'm like, I'll go up to him. I'm like, man, your cosplay is awesome. We'll get pictures. And then I'm like, how long did this take you? They're like, I've been working on it for 2 years. I'm like,
Yep.
shit. Like, that's
Anything that
amazing.
good, yeah. Like anything that good, like they're dedicating some serious effort and time, and it
Seriously.
you can
Yeah.
see it. It shows.
Oh, yeah, by just the intricacies.
Hmm.
The other thing I'm actually really excited for too is so my friend JR, he went with us last year. We actually bought him a ticket. He passed away of cancer. And so he's going to go to BlizzCon with us. His mom actually gave us some of his ashes, and so he's going with us this year too. So that's going to
Nice.
be really kind of special. Um,
That's beautiful, man.
yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
That's cool.
His mom was saying we should spread the ashes there, and like he really liked the cosplayer, so we're just gonna sprinkle everyone we take pictures
Just
with. Just
just like throw it at their
I
face.
know ashes. They're like, what the hell was that? I was like, that was a person. Just Just kidding.
That's probably illegal, but
Yeah,
you
that's
should
no.
you should do it anyways.
We not need to do that. Yeah, I'll have to take some videos and stuff while I'm down there. It was awesome. I'm very excited for this year. Very, very excited.
Cool.
Yeah. So, moving on, let's talk about eating, health, challenges. Zach, so basically, how's your eating going? Your meditation? You still doing Wim Hof? How's it been these last few weeks? Especially interested to hear with how busy you've been. So just to recap, Zach's gotten a new job. So I want to hear how you've kept yourself staying on the health train.
So my routine is uh, wake up, do Wim Hof breathing is the first thing that I do. It takes me about 10 minutes to get 3 breathing cycles in, and then I do some kind of a workout. And that's usually I start working out at about 4:30. So I either get a half an hour in before I start half an hour of body weight and calisthenics, like usually lunges and pistols and ring dips. And that stuff before I teach CrossFit on Wednesdays and Fridays, and in between clients on Mondays. So 3 days a week of that, and then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I'm doing the same thing. Get up, do Wim Hof, but I'm training weightlifting on those days, trying to get ready for American Masters coming up in November for weightlifting. Um, but with working this new job, like so I'm at the gym from about 4:30 till 7 every day, and then I'm at the new job most days from 9 to 5 or later depending on how things are going. But some days Monday I don't start until 1, and every other Friday I don't start until 1. So it's like there's some days where I can fit in like a good swim. I'm trying to swim every other week on Friday when I have some off time, and it's actually been going pretty well. I think I've been packing a lot of food with me to take to work for when I have time to eat. When I don't have time to eat, I'm used to fasting, so it doesn't bother me if I have a long block of where I'm with customers or I don't get to eat. And actually, a couple people that I work with have already picked up on "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Wow, that makes a lot of sense." And so they've started to incorporate just some small lifestyle tweaks to help them um, get to the point where, like, they can just go with and be with customers and not worry about food and get more adapted to feeding off their, you know,
Yeah.
ketosis versus, you know, the glycogen pathway. So it's been pretty cool, actually.
So would you
Definitely tired, definitely adapting, but I think it's going really well.
would you say keeping up with your habits has helped or hindered you during this new transition into the new job?
I think the discipline that I already had in place of those habits has helped a lot. Um, even nights like last night where I get like 4 hours of sleep, I'm still able to get through a full, like, I worked for about 14 hours today with the gym including and the dealership. So,
Dang.
and I didn't, I was getting after it all day. I was either learning things or with customers or, like, it's it's all about that discipline of just once you adapt, once you get it in your mind that, okay, I'm gonna get 4 hours of sleep. You can think about it two ways, right? It can be like, oh, I'm only gonna get 4 hours of sleep. My life's gonna be terrible tomorrow. Or you can think about it like, "Oh, I'm getting 4 hours of sleep. That's gonna be all right. I'm gonna feel fine in the morning. I'm gonna get after it anyways."
Yeah.
And like that's, I mean, depending on which way you choose to think, like that's gonna shape the rest of your future based on your perception of, what
Yeah.
you have to, like, there was no way I had to get the boys in bed. I had to prepare for the next day. There was no way I was going to get more than 4 hours of sleep last night. And so just
Yeah.
being positive about it, I made it through today just fine, had a good day. So stuff like that has been happening a lot. And
So let's break that down. So you talked about a couple things there, especially with your diet. And one thing I've been experimenting with is like fasting. So I want to talk about that real quick. You talked about running on glycogen versus ketosis.
hmm
Um, Now, one thing I've noticed with fasting, so I want to talk more about the ketosis and the glycogen. But one thing that I've noticed specifically as I've started fasting, I'll have 3 days a week where I basically don't eat anything. Um, I've noticed that number one, at first, I wanted to kill myself. Like I was so tired. I
that's emo.
wanted to die. Yeah. What up, Kodaic in chat? What's up, brother? I think that's Cody. Um, and then after a while though, like yesterday, doesn't even bother me. Like I don't even get grumpy and it doesn't bother my mood swing. I can just not eat and my body's fine with it. So I found that as I started fasting, that switch over has really helped. So then my caloric intake throughout the whole week is a lot lower. So I've noticed some really good benefits there. But one of the main things I've noticed with fasting is it's breaking my bad addiction to food, like habits. It's like smoking. I've been told that sometimes smoking half the battle is the addiction, the other half the battle is just the habit of doing that, you know? And I think we've done that. I've done that with food myself, where oh, I'm hungry, I want to munch on something, or I'm bored, or whatever. Um, but now if I have a fast and I don't eat as much as I normally would. So on my high days, I don't eat like I would normally because I don't need the food. It's like I more eat when I need the food when I'm not fasting. So it's interesting how it's broken those for me. Um, I don't know if you've noticed that, but I do want you to talk about the glycogen versus the ketosis a little bit so people can kind of know what's going on there.
Um, yeah, so it makes sense to kind of get your body adapted to using fat for energy, right? Because everybody wants to be lean, right?
Yeah.
It's like a common goal. Like I don't know any any person that has goals, fitness related goals, like they want to be lean. Like there's a lot of guys that they're like, I want to be huge, but let's 99% of people want to be nice and lean,
Yeah.
be able to see some definition in their muscles, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we're talking about ketosis and glycogen, like two ways to use stored energy, right? And I think, and I'm just like paraphrasing studies that I've read, but so when you eat carbohydrate, especially like higher glycemic carbohydrate, like sugar and fruit, and candy, and that type of stuff, you get a big insulin spike. And insulin is the hormone that your body produces to store that energy as glycogen in your muscle tissues and your liver tissues. And that once that's all full, then you start to run into problems where the insulin is still sending the signal to store, but the only space left to store is the fat cells. So that's where we get that excess body fat and visceral fat and fat around the organs and stuff is we're if you eat sugar, most likely you get you get hungry again pretty quickly because insulin's storing all of that energy, and then you don't have it readily available anymore in the bloodstream, so you kind of crash, so you need to eat again, but then you spike your insulin again, and it kind of creates this cycle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just paraphrasing studies that I've read, and I can't even name them right now because let's face it, I'm pretty tired,
Yeah.
but so that's the you know so you got glycogen, right? It's good to have it, but there's another way you can actually use go into ketosis from getting your body to adapt to using fat for energy.
Yeah. And ketosis is when you're using ketones, which is when your body's burning the fat. That's what that is. So it's ran out of
Right.
the glycogen and it's switched over to ketosis to then burn fat.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think you can it can like use fat and convert the your stored fat or fat that you eat into glycogen stores. So not only can you perform not only can you like stay lean and keep using your body fat as a source of energy when you're not eating, but also you can perform athletically because that quick source of energy from glycogen is still available because there's a process by which your body can take fat without that big insulin spike and still store it in your
Yeah.
muscles and your liver and keep you full on glycogen too.
Who
So you're
was
kind of getting the best of both worlds.
who was that guy that you were telling me about? Did a 7-day fast, no food, and then hit some kind of stupid like deadlifting record or something like that?
It was Dom D'Agostino that I heard this story about, and I think it was a 10 rep deadlift with like 500 pounds or
After
something like
7-day fast. That's what's
after a
crazy.
7 day fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you're fat adapted, like from if you if you if you look at people that are fat adapted and they talk about it, like it's not even it's there's not much of a problem once you can go for 7 days and it's you just go about your day and it's not a big deal. Where so many people will be like, "Oh, you don't eat for 7 days, you're gonna die."
Yeah.
It's
You know,
like, mm,
yeah.
not if you prepare your body and adapt first, you know.
Well, and when I did my 4-day fast, I had a lot of people telling me like, your body, your metabolism's going to slow down, your body's going to go crazy. And the one thing I always thought about is like, we have this system for us to be able to use stored fat. I don't think that if our body switched over to using stored fat, it would wreak havoc on all of our other systems. Engaging one system in our body doesn't mean it would destroy the other systems in our body. I feel like, you know what I mean? It would be something that it could do without harm. I think people just feel crappy like I did when I first started fasting because it's something we're not adapted to, but then once you get used to it, it's not really hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not, your hormones don't feel crazy. You don't feel like you're tired and want to die.
Yeah.
So,
It's it's just different, and it makes a lot of sense. Like your body has these two modes, right? Like you can be catabolic, which is in a state, I guess you could say like a wasting state, but I don't think you're really wasting away when you're fat adapted. And anabolic, where you're like growing, like the growing state that everybody wants to be in for bodybuilding, or they take steroids because they're anabolic, right?
yeah.
Um,
No,
I think
vitamins, Zach. Remember.
vitamins,
Vitamins.
but but if you look at it from a perspective of like trying to be balanced, like look at it from the perspective of your body. Like your body's going to be grateful if you give it a long break without having to digest things so that it can handle other things that it needs to handle, like healing connective tissue, heal, like completely digesting and clearing your digestive system, like taking care of like maybe some gut repair. Like I don't know, I'm just coming up with stuff off the top of my head, but and again, I'm not like getting into any scientific research type stuff, but just logically, doesn't it make sense? Like, well, if I don't eat for a while, my body's not gonna just be like, oh, I want food and I'm gonna die. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna handle some other business that it's gonna be like, oh, thank you. I have resources now to do other things that need to be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you should say that because one thing they always say is like it might be a little weird for us to eat every day. Like everybody's normal is the abundance of food, but the more and more research, I've been watching and listening to a lot of like videos like what's that guy's name? Jim Stepi what's his
Jim
name?
Stop Jim Stopani.
Yeah, Jim Stepani. I've been listening to a lot of him. I've been listening to some of the author of Glow 15 talk about it. And it's just interesting how there's so much research coming out about fasting and the benefits there, you know. Um,
Uh-huh.
it's just, yeah, it's
You
really
know,
cool.
Naomi Whittle, I think she interviewed a lady who, like like there's all this talk about the biome, like
Yeah,
the bacteria that's actually a part of your like it's like a symbiotic relationship between you and the bacteria, like it's a huge part of your body, right?
right, yeah.
She was interviewing this lady, and maybe we can find the video and put it in the comments. I think it might have been a video you had to pay for though. Anyways, it was a scientist lady, and she was talking about the biome, but also there's the biome and the vibrobiome. So there's like a whole community of like viruses that that are also symbiotic, that are in your body, and also a mycobiome, so fungus.
Huh.
So there's actually, the biomes all the rage right now. There's actually at least two other ones that that science is kind of like starting to understand.
That's
So
crazy.
it's like you can't just like you can't you got to keep your mind flexible because they're discovering new things all the time.
Yeah.
So if you just think like, "Oh, I figured it out. Like this is the way." Like,
You can't have a dogma about something, you know. You got to
yeah, I
be
don't
you got to try some
yeah,
stuff, and if it works for you, great, but you also might be wrong, you know?
and you've got to be willing to adapt and change as new information presents itself too.
That's true. You might be a
Yeah,
better way.
exactly.
So you said earlier you were training for the American Masters. That's what your workouts have been focused around. Tell me more about that. What's that? What's going on there?
Well, my workouts have been focused around that, like getting ready for it's in November 1st to the 4th, but
Hmm.
it's in Salt Lake City, and since I turned 35 now, I qualify as a master for Olympic weightlifting. So,
He's the youngest guy in the Masters, so he's gonna go get in there and beat up on those old fogies.
uh, it's only 35 to 39, I believe. So
I thought it was like
there's
30, 35 to like
oh
40 or something.
maybe, but there's new categories every 5 years, I believe.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
So it, I'm just trying to last till I'm like 90. Like no other weightlifter has like been able to go that long, and I'm just gonna do it until I die and just be like, this is my world record. I'm 90 and I lifted like 100 pounds. Yeah.
Zach Zach's 95 and dies during a snatch and clean. He's like,
If
best.
I would die, uh, I would go to Valhalla at
There
least
you go. I got crushed. I got crushed by 315 pounds above my head. It was amazing.
because I would die in battle.
Oh, that's awesome. Um,
But that, I mean, it's not like I'm like super hyper focused on that. Like I have, like obviously, my career is my main focus at this point. My family too. So that's just kind of it's convenient. It's in Salt Lake City, and it's a big competition, and it would be my first Masters competition. So
that's
it's just
cool.
something to keep me a little more motivated. I train harder when I know I've got something on the horizon like that.
Yeah, because then you have a point to it.
hmm
Yeah.
One of the guys at Wasatch, I think, is gonna do it too. Jared Flint,
Oh, really? Jared's gonna do
our
it?
our buddy Jared. Yeah.
That's cool. That is way cool.
hmm
Um, how old is Jared? He's not that old.
He
35.
probably he's 35, 36. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Doesn't seem like that. Maybe might be in his late 30s, early 40s. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, as far as my workouts have been going, I've been squatting all the times, like every day, doing more squats.
Yeah,
Um,
buddy.
it's been awesome. I've had a lot of problems with my lower back, and so I've just been squatting my butt off. It's so interesting because it's like, as I've started to just really focus on the squat, it's such a core movement, and I'm starting to realize how bad I am at squatting and that movement. And as I've really focused on it, it's like how I'm starting to just, speak the language of the squat. I don't know how else to say it. I'm just starting to understand it. My back is getting better. My mobility is getting better. My energy is getting better. I'm very excited because I've never been able to do much on the squat. So as I'm doing this program that you told me about, um, it's just everything is getting a lot stronger. I did a workout with deadlift and front squats, and before there's no way I could have done that. So I'm actually been really, really happy with how my workouts have been going.
It's all about the process.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also about letting myself be bad. I think when I was younger,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, and being patient. When I was
hmm
younger, like I get so frustrated, like, because I've been squatting like 120 20 pounds, like just staying there, staying low weight. And I've slowly gone up from there. But when I was younger, there's no way I'd let myself do that. You know what I mean? Like I had to be hitting heavy weights, so I'd always wind up hurting myself because I had too much uh, testosterone poisoning, as my mom calls it. you know, and so it's really interesting as I've just given myself the time to adapt and work on it, how the benefits have come. Just that having that discipline. Um,
Hmm.
however, I've really had to practice my, what did you call it, stoicism this week. Uh,
Stoicism, the philosophy.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I was coming down off of a pull-up bar and I cracked my ankle real bad, like I rolled the bejesus out of it a couple of days ago. Um, and I got really frustrated. I get frustrated when I get hurt because it's like a setback, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but what I've learned is, number one, shit happens.
Yep. Yep.
And number two, I think the thing is there's this fine line, so fine between stopping atrophy and re-injuring yourself. I've
Hmm.
found with one of the worst things I can do when I get injured is to just stop cold turkey. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It stops blood flow. It takes longer to heal, but obviously you can then overdo it. You start to
Yep.
feel good and you can re-injure it because you do too much. So I'm getting good at this balance of making sure I keep moving, making sure I keep working out, but I work around the injury, and I kid you not, Zach, my recovery time, I recover better, stronger, and faster. It's crazy.
That's another, I think that's a bit like a common misconception about healing is that, oh, if you hurt something, you should just completely rest for like until it feels fine. And that just ends up getting worse for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
Like ending up in the hospital and getting surgery worse for, for a thing that you could just have, worked through if you're willing to, you know, just sacrifice what you wanted to do for what you could what you can do at the moment.
yeah, yeah. Well, what's funny about that is there's a couple of times when I hurt my lower back and I would just lay down and I didn't want to hurt it again and I didn't understand what was going on. So I did that. I just stopped. And there was a couple of times there where my back became so tight and so immobile, I literally couldn't wipe my own ass. Like as gross as that is, I couldn't
Is that
bend. I
bomb?
I couldn't. Yeah, seriously. I just rubbed it on the carpet. It's fine.
Okay.
Mom,
Okay.
bathroom. No,
Oh god.
no, but it's true. Like I literally
Yeah.
couldn't reach or bend that much, you know? And now when I hurt my back, I know that I got to avoid these certain things and whatnot, but I keep moving. I keep that blood flow going. And dude, I barely miss a beat. It's an incredible discovery that I've made. That difference between, atrophy and overworking it and re-injuring.
Well, speaking of people having to wipe your butt for you, um gosh, I was so weak in the hospital in the beginning of this year that like it was so hard to get all the way clean because I couldn't like use my muscles right.
Yeah.
And that is like, oh my gosh, like like you're saying with, you know, just working through something and like just doing what you can, like that experience for me, and I'm grateful for it because I approach everything with this mindset of like no matter how tough things get, as long as you just keep on like pushing
Yeah.
and you never give up, like great things you can come out of like a deep darkness, you know.
It's it's so true. And and it really comes down to, kind of what we talk about on this podcast, that balance between order and chaos. And,
Mhm.
chaos will always strike And if you have too much order, that can make you weak and brittle. If you have too much chaos, you can never grow. But if you're able to balance those things when they're, and you push yourself to be in those situations, you know, by choice, to not like crazy like life or death situations, but you have that chaos in your life, you have that order in your life, and you do that willingly, your body grows and adapts, your mind grows and adapts, your spirit grows and adapts. So then when some crazy shit happens that's outside of your control, like you almost die because your appendix explodes, huh, Zach? Um, you can come out of it better, faster, stronger. You know,
Yeah,
you don't break because you're too brittle. You've grown and you're able to adapt to those things. So,
for sure.
because the only constant in life is change, man.
For
That's for
sure.
dang sure. Awesome. Well, that's everything I had. Did you have anything else you want to talk about today?
Um, well, we mentioned stoicism a little bit, and if you guys get a chance, if you want to check out a book, I highly recommend it. It's called "The Obstacle Is the Way" by
Your mother.
Google.
Google. You need to have Google. Faster Google, Zach. Faster Google.
The Obstacle Is the Way by Ryan Holiday. There we go. It, I just listened to it and on Audible, and yeah, that philosophy. It's basically the philosophy of, like we're talking about, like whatever you can control, like do that. Control those factors. You know, if you
Yeah.
can get up early, you can train your body physically. You can get smarter. You can learn things. You can choose to get better at the things that you need to in order to advance. You can control those things. You know, do
Yeah.
that. The things
Yeah.
you can't control, you can't let those get to you.
You can't let those take you down.
Other people, chaos, whatever else, that what the things you can't control, like, if you're in World War II and bombs are coming at you, like,
That'd
you
be
can't worry about that. You
that'd
can't
be World
control
War III.
that.
They've already had number two, Zach.
I'm talking about in the past, but pretty if World War III, like, there's gonna be like robot drones flying around,
Yeah.
like, just
Z-
ripping people's heads off.
zapping people.
That I
Oh.
can't wait. If that happens, just give me a baseball bat, and
I think you watch The Purge too much, bro. He's
I
like, I
didn't.
got this planned out. I got a
I haven't
shovel
watched.
and a baseball bat, because baseball bats never run out of ammo.
I I
I don't need. Oh, good.
I have kids. I haven't watched movies in like 5 years.
He's like, I
But
don't get.
anyways,
I don't get alone time. He's like, I don't.
anyways,
I don't need steel guns when I've got these guns.
yeah.
What?
Ugh. Control the things you can control, and everything else, you just gotta let it be. Just have some faith that you can you can survive the things you can't control if you do your best to control the things that you actually can.
I
And that
agree.
was a long-winded explanation, and probably not a very good one, of stoicism.
No, I loved it though. That was a Zachism. We'll call it that. I have another Zachism for everybody. Eat the biggest frog first. It's a metaphor by by Zach Brodus.
I was taught that by an Australian guy.
That's awesome. Was that
I think it's
Brian?
an Australian setting. No, he's from the
New
the
Zealand.
V one, New Zealand.
New
That's
Zealand,
right.
yeah.
I was gonna say Venezuela, but that's
Venezuela. Yeah, that's definitely where he's from.
I'm tired.
He has a huge badonkadonk, so I would have said Brazil. I'm just kidding.
No,
I have no idea. All right,
you.
guys, follow us on Facebook, GeekFit IRL. Follow us on
Yeah.
the YouTubes at GeekFit MinMax in real life or MinMax IRL, and on Twitch at GeekFit spelled G33KF1T. Thanks
Do it.
everybody. I'm gonna play the outro now.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Yeah, there we go.
Got the little bunny poo poo.